Hey guys. Thank you very much, all of you, to joining this webinar. We really appreciate your feedbacks and your suggestions, which we have came across in past couple of weeks, and we are trying to improve it every now and then. So you will get the application in different complete interface very soon. So today we are going to talk about CityOS, which is our proprietary application, and this is our COTS product, where we are going to talk about the mobile application part. In the past webinar, my team, Ms. Ruhi and Mr. Jaydev, has talked about the web application, where how you can create a project and it can push to mobile application, so the surveyor can handle the survey from the field. So let me introduce myself. Myself, Neerav Darji. I am the project manager working with Transerve for almost 2 years. Today, webinar is going to be hosted by Mr. Rahul Verlekar. He is our senior Android developer, and he is the key person in this particular application, where his ideas and R&Ds have helped us a lot to improve the application. Coming to the expertise of Transerve technology is we have worked on plenty of the industries in the last 10 years, mainly in asset management, spatial integration, vehicle tracking, land records, and automation. We have supplied this application to many municipal corporations span India. If you have any other suggestions or feedbacks, please let us know on feedback@transerve.com. We would like to answer all your questions, so it can help us to improve the application. Today's key takeaways, where Mr. Rahul is going to talk about that the use case we have taken as a property tax survey, where he's going to show you the interface of mobile application, how the data collection can be happen using building and premises form. Building a premises form, which we have already created in the last webinar, how you can update the data field, and the split, merge, and delete function, which is the core functionality in the property tax survey, where you have a one single building, but you would like to split it if you have two different buildings, but from the satellite image, which is on the basis of visualization. But if you want to merge it, so those kind of functionalities, which are very important in this application, we have captured. Going back to the CityOS web application, where Mr. Rahul will explain how you can approve the data, where he's going to explain about the approve, resurvey, and reject. This each functionality will be shown by Rahul in very deep. On the top of that, the last but not least, survey analytics will be explained, where he's going to show you how you can analyze the day-to-day collection of each surveyor, and it can help you to do the further analysis. So Rahul, please take over from here, and please share your knowledge and experience on this application. Thank you.
We will be using today is used for feeding geospatial data to the cloud server, and once this data is there on the cloud server, you can operate on this data, and you can also analyze this data. Once it is analyzed, you can export it, and you can use it in any other GIS tool that is available. So let me just start with sharing my mobile screen. So as an introduction, the scope of this webinar is especially the property tax module that we'll be showing. Apart from that, I'll also show data management a bit later, and also survey. So you guys will be able to see my screen, right? So in this screen, you will see an app. This is the app that we use for surveyors. And this app can be downloaded from the Play Store. All you need to do is type CityOS and followed by Transerve. You can download it from the Play Store. And once you log in this app, once you install this app, you'll have to log in. And when you log in the app, you'll have to add a few details. So these details will be the email, the password, and the organizations. So as a brief summarization again, my colleague Jaydev had told how to create a user in the web app. So we'll start from there. Okay. So I hope you guys can see my screens properly. And let me start by typing the email. This particular field is created by the admin. In our last webinar sessions, you can check us on YouTube. You'll find videos and you'll find our previous webinar sessions if you're missing out on something. We showed how to create a user, and that particular user, especially the surveyor, will be used over here. So all I need to do is type the email. In my case, the email is joe@transerve.com. So let me type these details real quick. And then the password that was assigned. This password is also admin created, can be changed of course. And now there is an organization ID. So this particular organization ID is an alphanumeric ID that the system has auto-generated. This is a unique ID given by Transerve to any organization that is registered with us. It is a PAN organization ID. It is common across all surveyors, and each surveyor will have to type this particular ID and log in. Now you can view this ID from the web app, from the organization details tab, and it remains constant. So let me type my ID real quick also. And if all the details are correct, oh, mine are missing, let me type again. And if all the details are correct, it will let you log in. Okay, it was 30. Okay. So once you log in, you'll be able to see this home screen, and this home screen shows your username, the image of the user if he's added an image, and then there is this last login button. The last login information is very useful because in cases if you feel somebody is using your information without any consent, is trying to log in and collect data, you can fetch the last login and you can tell the admin to change your password. This will stop unauthorized access to your account. Then there are these three buttons, the modules, notification, chats. And let's jump onto the overview screen. I'll be shown all the modules that I'm assigned to. Currently, I'm assigned only one module. And now I'll be shown all the data points that were collected. So I've collected 20 data points and 9 are approved. So these are across all modules. It gives you a quick overview of the data that has been collected. There's also a side menu. Side menu also has a few options. The simplest ones are log out. You can just log out from the app and let another surveyor use the same device. There is this about page. This will help you contact us in case you need to contact us. It also has feedback for you guys to send feedback, and also has a help section where you can get more help when needed. There's an important setting option, which in turn has 3 more options. Let me go to edit profile. The edit profile option will help you edit your profile. You can change your image, you can change your name. It also displays your email, role, and organization ID. I've told what these are. The role is surveyor because only surveyors are allowed to access this app. Now, changing your name and your profile picture will help you because whenever you collect any data, your information is tagged along with the data. So every time you see your information, the data that you collected, you'll have also the data of the name and the user's pic over there. Also, in cases of chat, it's really helpful to know whom you're chatting to. And once you have changed, you can save. Let me go back. Now, I'll show you another screen, which is offline map screen. In this screen, you will see an entry called as bridge area. So let me give you a quick overview of what this screen is. In Transerve, when we were developing this app, we had a vision that this particular app should be accessible offline. Even though if there is no internet connectivity, all you need is the charge of your mobile phone and you should be able to use this particular app. So considering this philosophy, we thought of creating a way so that you can cache the map in the background, or you can download and keep these maps in the background. So all you have to do is you have to download WMS maps and it creates a session over here. How to download WMS maps will be covered shortly. But let me tell you what is very important is this is the place where you can see all the sessions that were downloaded, for which project it was downloaded. You can delete if you want to delete. You can also see the age of these maps. So WMS map is very important because it gives clues, and WMS map can also eliminate hard copies that the surveyor has to carry along with them. So let me talk about this a little bit later. Let me move on to a very important screen now as well. So which will be the GPS settings. We all know that GPS, every mobile phone has GPS, but these GPSs are good, but not good enough for surveyors. In some cases, it is good for navigational purposes. Of course, you can find directions. In some cases, you can use it to collect GPS information. But in many cases, and especially in geospatial domain, will require a very accurate GPS. We require something that is very precise, better than the normal GPS. So considering this in mind, what we thought of doing was allowing private party or third party GPS receivers, GNSS receivers as well, to be connected to our app. And we made the process very simple so that you don't have to have the headache of connecting anything. All you have to do is you have to connect one of these apps. So for example, if I connect Catalyst, I'll select Catalyst. So you can collect them using the USB, or you can collect them using Bluetooth. And once you collect that, we'll handle everything from there on. You just need to click connect, we'll load the licenses for you, we'll communicate with the device. You might have to enter your device details, or you might have to load your license details, you might have to log in into Catalyst. Once that is done, we'll connect to the sensors. We'll also initialize the sensors. And once the sensors are collected, we'll bypass the phone GPS and let you collect data directly from the external GPS. Added advantage of these kind of GPS is it is very accurate. Apart from that fact, we also tried a Catalyst at our end, and we got accuracy of 3 centimeter, which is quite good. But this is not the limit. We had some overcast condition, we had some blockages. So it also depends on the conditions, but the limit is as much as the third party GPS receivers offer. So sky is the limit literally for this particular feature. Also, we have seen in cases surveyors have to carry a large baggage of external equipments, which is heavy to carry, and sometimes it also takes a lot of time. The GPS receivers, which are more modern, are very easy to carry, and it is easy to use as well. So it also saves a lot of time, and we wanted the surveyors to have this feature in handy. So this particular screen helps you with better accuracy. Let me go back and let me show you another screen, that is the module screen. So when I click on modules, I'll be shown all the modules that I'm assigned. Currently, I'm only assigned the property text module, which we'll be going to explain today. And it also shows me an overview statistics of things that are actually collected. So you can see there are 20 data points that were collected. It's 9 are approved, 1 for resurvey, and 10 remaining are pending. You can search for modules if you want to. You can refresh these statistics also. But let me show you some important screens. I'll focus on data status and view statistics as of now. So let me click on data status. So these are passive screens, and this again ties in with our philosophy of making life of the surveyor easy. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that the surveyor has in all the data that he requires. So since we want to eliminate hard copies altogether, what we want to do is we want to show him a group data. So if you see, these are actually buildings, and you have a premise summary listed there. So you have the collected status, you have the pending status. You don't need to carry a hard copy until absolutely necessary. And then we have also created another important tab called as resurvey. So in most of the cases, what happens is resurvey cases are taken on priority. So the surveyor can glance through the screen and understand which are the cases that has to be resurveyed. He can see the ID, he can find that building and go for resurvey altogether. Another screen that we have created is view statistics. Now this particular screen is also helping the surveyor. It gives you a data of premises and buildings, but this time we have grouped it with respect to premise and buildings. So it will show the total number of collected premises. It will show you statuses of those premises. It will show you statuses for buildings as well. So whenever a surveyor has to plan his day, all he has to do is go onto this screen, cross-verify his data, and plan his day accordingly. After collecting the data, if he wants to get a count, he has to go to this screen. He doesn't need to visit any web app or anywhere. He just has to go and see on this screen and get his count done. It is that simple to use this app. Now let's go on to offline WMS maps. So in the beginning of the webinar, I showed you that this particular map session was there in the settings, and now I'll tell you how to actually download WMS maps. So in the previous webinars, my colleague explained how to create map sessions, the various things that you can use in web sessions, and all that power that you have in web sessions, now you can use those features in the mobile app as well. So to see this particular web session, what you have to do is you can just go on the map screen, select WMS map, and it will show you the web session. But in cases wherein the surveyor has to go remote, there is no offline connectivity or there is no network coverage, or maybe it's a limited network coverage area, then he's stuck. He has to use a normal cached map or try to use nothing at all and use the GPS instead. So in these cases, what you have to do is you can just click on offline maps and then click on download maps. And once you click on download maps, you zoom to the location that you want. It will show you a bounding box and will allow you to download this particular area. So whatever area you want to download, however big, however small, you can download. So if you zoom to this area and then you intend to click the download button, it will start downloading. And once it downloads, it will save everything onto the mobile device. So now the data is cached in the background. If you lose your network connectivity, you don't have to worry about it. And all the data that the WMS provides, you can customize this data, you can add word boundaries, you can do whatnot. And all this data that comes along with WMS is now available for offline use as well. So this is a pretty nifty feature which will help the surveyor, of course. Let me go back. Now let me show you how to collect this data or how to feed geospatial data onto our cloud. So if I go to collect, you'll see this particular animated options. Now sometimes this particular screen might take time, and the reason for it taking time is that what we are doing in this screen is taking our philosophy of making offline use a step ahead. So we'll download all the buildings, we'll download all the premises that were assigned, all the base map that were loaded. We'll download all these things. Of course, it is downloaded with respect to wards and only the buildings that were assigned to the user, but everything that is required henceforth will be downloaded. And once it is downloaded, you don't have to touch it again. You don't have to download it again. So you'll download everything. And once everything is downloaded, we'll save it in our database that is on the mobile phone. And from this point on, you can go offline. You can go truly remote. And once you go remote, you realize you have collected all the data. You want to sync it again. You just have to press the sync button, which syncs the building again. So it is this simple to go remote. And henceforth, whatever I'm displaying can be done in offline mode or airplane mode as well. This map that you are seeing, this map might look like a normal map, but it's not really a normal map. We have put a lot of hard work on this map. We are trying to improve it as we speak as well. And if you see, this map is very crisp, it is very fast. And not only that, we have added inbuilt clustering. We have a proprietary code for clustering. And we cluster buildings once we reach to a zoom level wherein we assume that the user will not really want to see the buildings. And once this zoom level reaches, we'll cluster the buildings. And if not, what we do is we only load data that is necessary for the user. So in this case, if I hover right, will not see the buildings until I actually go to that place. So this is very important because By using these techniques, what we did was we could load more than 40,000 entries in our testing, and we believe that it can go more than that. It only is dependent on the mobile that you're using or the configuration of your mobile. But we successfully tested around 40,000 buildings, and the more data that you have, the more data that the surveyor has, it is good for him to collect better data. So this is what we did for map. And let's now interact with these buildings or interact with the map. So let me just click on any building. Also, you'll see these two buildings, one is blue and one is red. I'll tell about that a little bit later. So if I click on any of these buildings, suppose I click on this building, and I'm presented with a few options. It's update building, add premises, view floor layout, and there are a few advanced options. So let me show you update data, update building data. If I click on update building data, I'll be presented with a form. Now the form has lowest floor number, it has highest floor number, and it has assessment status. So the assessment status is the field that will give color to the building. It again ties in our philosophy of making surveyors' job easier. So what we are trying to do is give surveyors the visual cue that this building is done, so that whenever he has to fetch a route or go to a particular place, he can see the map and plan his day accordingly. So if you say pending, it will come in red. If you say done, then it will come in blue color. And we are also working as we speak on improving this a little bit further. We are putting more colors to it to make it easier for the surveyor to get more data. Apart from that, we'll also show you building ID. Bear in mind, this particular field is not user enterable. It is not, it is just for display purposes, and we'll auto generate this building ID. The idea behind auto generating is another philosophy or another idea that we have for surveyors. Since surveyors have to collect a lot of data, they cannot really pay attention to something that is quite obvious. Sometimes there are some human errors that creep in, and we want to catch these human errors at the first stage. So you can see what we are trying to really do is eliminate a QC step which comes between surveyor and admin. So we are trying to eliminate this step altogether. We are trying to catch obvious things. We are trying to make it easier and better so that better geospatial data comes in. There are a few required fields like lowest floor. And I'll tell you, if I enter some wrong details over here, so suppose I'll enter 3, it gives me an error directly. It doesn't allow me to enter data. So this is the thing that I'm talking about. In this app, while designing the whole app, we thought that the more number of errors that we catch before actually the data enters our system, it is better. So we are eliminating the QC's job for you. You can add custom conditions if you want to. You can add custom validations if you want to. So let me add proper data over here. I'll add 0 and then I'll add 4. And this particular remaining fields are user customizable. You can add n number of fields you want. There are many types of media widgets. You can put recordings, you can put video recordings, audio recordings, PDF documents. Have a look at our YouTube page. You'll understand all the details, all the widgets that were allowed. And once you understand those widgets, you can try this form field. You can add a lot of form fields that you want. And this particular data will be collected along with geospatial data. So both are linked together. And let me go ahead and just save this real quick. I'll just press the save button. If everything is valid, it will tell me data was updated successfully. And now my data is sent onto the server. So as I said, it goes to the cloud. Let me show you the cloud front as well. So let me show you the web screen. So let me refresh this page. And this is the web app. This is the place where all data is collected. The admin usually will use this, or the analyst will use. And this is the second QC step. So number of QC steps is really up to you, but this is the second QC step. And there are these approvals. There is this approve button, there is a reject button, there is a resurvey button. Current status is pending. So the current building that I just sent is add it to this portal, and now you can go ahead and approve. If you are the admin, if you feel everything is correct, you can approve it. If you want, you can reject it or put it for resurvey. You can also edit the data. We'll talk about this a little bit later. And there is this premise tab as well. Let me show you my screen again. Okay. So what I'm doing next is we'll click on the building again. We'll go to the add premise data. So now that we have updated the building data, we would want to add premises to this building. So as I told you earlier, we're trying to automate everything that is possible. The pragmatic tasks or the easier tasks for the surveyor should be automated. Anything that can be automated is automated in this app. If you see the floors are auto-calculated because it is quite obvious to calculate floors. We'll select any floor we want. If there were existing premises already, it would have been displayed over here. Since there are no premises, there's nothing displayed. Now, to collect a new premise, all I have to do is tap on this icon and tap on the place where the premise actually is located. So I tap over here. Now, again, another consideration with it was if you tap outside the building, obviously it should not be allowed. In some cases, surveyors might hastily click somewhere else, they don't realize it, but the system catches this. So if I click outside, it will show me a proper message. And once I click on this premise, I can go ahead and press next. Now again, a premise form will be shown. If you notice, this form is different from the building form because the power to create a form is up to the user, it's up to the admin. Any kind of form that you have can be automated, can be shown over here. There are a lot of widgets, there are a lot of media feeds as well. I'll show you the building ID which is associated. It is auto filled in again. You don't have to type it. It is automatically captured. The mapping is automatically done. Let me type the premise ID. I type the premise ID. The floor is auto calculated. It says 0. If I want, I can change it. I can say 2 if I want to. And again, if I say 9, it shows me an error because these things are quite obvious. It should be caught at the first stage. There are a lot of errors that happen. There is a lot of time that is wasted and we are trying to reduce that time. So let me try proper details over here. Let me answer other fields as well. And you can add n number of fields you want to. And I click on save. Now if I select floor number 1, I'm not sure which one it was. I think it was 0 again. So it was 0. So if I select floor number 0, it adds premise to floor number 0. Let me go back again. So this is how you add a premise. The next option that I want to show you is view floor layout. And in view floor layout, it is more of a hybrid of adding a premise, but this is for a surveyor who knows what he is doing. Suppose in cases a building has a lot of premises, there are thousands of premises or there are thousands of floor, and you need to find a specific premise. So suppose it is the floor 0 that you want to find a premise for. So all you have to do is select the floor, then click on the search button, and you will be showed a list of premises. If you want, you can sort it by premise ID, or you can sort it by update date. You can also search if you know the ID already. And once you have found the premise, all you need to do is edit the data, delete the premise, and edit the option. So these are quite easy to do. In case the surveyor wants to skip all the previous steps, directly wants to jump to a particular premise in a particular building, he can do so on this screen. We are also showing all the premises that are already present. It also helps you. And from this screen, if in case you want to add, you can add as well. So if you want a reference to other premises and want to add somewhere next to that premise, you can use this screen. The add process is similar to the previous process. So this summarizes the view floor layout. Let me go back and show you another option. And if you see, there is another option called as advanced options. So advanced options are a bit unique because these options should be used only in cases wherein there is an anomaly in the data. What do I mean by anomaly? I'll explain what anomaly means. So if I click on advanced option, there are 3 options. So there is this merge building, there is split building, and there is delete building. So let me click another building. So let's say I click on this building. I go to advanced options and I want to merge a building. So assume the data that you are getting, the base map, is actually done without a proper survey, and it was done by digitization by a GIS guy. So while doing the digitization, what happens is the surveyor maps three buildings, but it's actually a single complex. It's actually a single complex that you had to map. And now you realize that it is one simple complex. So all you do is click on this building, you say, I want to merge a few buildings together. So to merge a few buildings together, what you have to do is click on merge building, then click on the buildings that you want to merge. I'll select all these three buildings and then I click next. Now it will ask you for details regarding the merged buildings because not necessarily the previous buildings can give you all these details. The floors might have changed, the highest lowest floor might have changed. So I'll say 0, I'll say 2, and then I'll say the pending status is pending. I can fill all the remaining data as well. Then I say save. So once I save this, and if I click on this building, now it's a single entity. And we'll give a building ID also for it automatically. So now it's a single entity and you can interact with these three buildings as a single entity. You can perform all these actions all together. So if I go and say add premises, if I click outside, it doesn't allow a point. If I click on this building, it allows me. If I click outside, it doesn't allow. So this can be done for joint buildings or disjoint buildings as well. And this particular feature also has another aspect to it, since these options can be misused as well. So in cases surveyor wants to misuse these options, we have created a web portal and given it a special approval status. So these buildings will have special icons. If you see, this icon is for merge, and whenever somebody merges a building, it will be shown over here. It will be shown as a merge request. You can approve these buildings or you can reject these buildings. Now, with including these options, we were able to curb the misuse. But what we weren't able to curb was it might, if we are waiting for an approval, of course, then the surveyor will to have to call the either call the surveyor or have to wait or switch to another building, and this wastes a lot of time of the surveyor. And we know that surveyor might be paid per hour or his time is very necessary. So what we allowed was surveyor can now go ahead and collect premises if he wants to. He can add premises to this building if he wants to. He can go ahead and perform all those tasks, and we from the cloud will handle it for you. We as a backend will handle it for you. We'll keep all these requests in pending tasks, and as you reject or as you approve, we'll put these premises accordingly. So the surveyor doesn't have to wait. He doesn't have to waste his time on calling to an admin. He can just say that I'm marking this for a merge or I'm marking this for a split, and then he can go ahead and continue with his job. We will handle it for you, and this will really help surveyors, we believe, because he can go with his flow. He can continue all the premise collection as well. Now let me show you another feature, which is split premises. Now split premises is also a special case. What happens in split premises, the digitizer actually thought the two entities are a single premise. So he has marked them together. But now I know as a surveyor that this building is a separate premise. So I want to split this. And how do I split a building? All I have to do is draw a reference line. I tap on the map to start the reference line. I click the next point, and you can see this dotted line, which is the reference line. And if I click on the split button, it splits the building for me. So it takes into consideration and it will split the building for me. And now these two entities are separate entities for all purpose. Also, if you want to split it into three, we have taken that into consideration also. So you do this, you click here. We use our algorithm and we try to split this building into three. So now it's split it into three buildings. You press save. And now for all purposes, henceforth, this building are three entities. Again, this is showed. So if I click on this building, it will be a separate entity. If I click on this building, it's a separate entity. And you'll notice the IDs are separate as well. We are auto assigning the ID. You don't have to manually do the assigning of the IDs, will auto assign the IDs. And this particular information is also shown onto the cloud. You can see this building is split into three. Okay. Now, let me also show you the last option. If I click here and if I click advanced options, and if I want to delete a particular building. So let's assume a scenario when the mapping or the digitization of the map was done, there was a building that existed or it looked like a building and the surveyor is now on the field. And he realizes that either the building is raised to the ground and it's no longer valid or it was never a building to begin with. So in cases like this, what you have to do is you have to click delete button. Again, the same flow happens. The building gets deleted for the surveyor. It goes for approval. And once it goes for approval, the admin or the analyst can decide on the fate of the building. So this is the last advanced options. Now let me show you so that how to actually search a building, or let's start with first adding a building. So if I want to add a new building, you realize being a surveyor that I have seen another building and I want to add a new building now. So to add a building, I need to click on this icon. I click on this icon, I click on this, and then I actually tap the building that I want to create. I say this is the building that I wanted to create. I click on next. Okay, I think there is some error. So ideally what happens is like when I click next, it actually shows me a form, and in that form, I'll be able to fill that particular building ID. So it will show me the form that was previously stored, and in that form, you'll be able to fill the data. The same building will be shown here for approval along with a new icon, and you can operate on the building as it is a normal building. If it is rejected, all the premises will be handled accordingly. If it is actually accepted, all the premises will be handled accordingly. Okay. So now that building, add building is covered, let's move on to another screen, which is this screen. And this screen is called as the search building screen. Like in premises, you might have thousands of buildings. As we say, we have supported 40,000 entries. So there might be thousands of buildings and you might want to collect only a particular building. So all you have to do is know the building number or building ID, come on the screen, type the building ID that you want, and it will display buildings accordingly. It will filter out the results. Also, you can sort building based on update date. So this helps you in case if the surveyor actually wants to continue where he last surveyed. So you can sort this by update date. And you can click on the last building. It will take you to that particular location. You can survey the location based on map and proceed to either collect building or collect premises, update building. Also, another feature that we put inside is in cases you don't want to actually go inside and visit the view premises screen, we have given you a small window wherein we have grouped buildings based on premises. We'll show you how many premises are there. We'll show you how many premises are there on each floor. And if you are satisfied with this information, you don't need to go and visit that particular screen. It saves you a lot of time. It shows you information beforehand as well. So it shows you there are on floor number 2, there are 1 premise. In this case, there is on floor number 1, there is 2 premises. Floor number 3, there is 1 premise. So this also helps the user a great deal. And now that search building is also done, I'll also show you another option, which is with regards to map. So if you see this icon, the layers icon, you click on this icon, what happens is you will see default, satellites, and WMS. So if you click satellite image, you'll see a satellite image. This of course helps in digitizing. So you can digitize using the satellite map. But we have gone a step further. As I told you, we are also allowing you to see WMS maps. Now for this particular building, WMS map is not available, so it doesn't show. But what happens is, like, when there is a WMS map, it will show you the map session that you had assigned, and this particular map session will be shown in this screen. So imagine in cases you want to give information to surveyor regarding the building titles, you want to show labels, you want to show a varied number of things, and you don't want the surveyors to collect a hard copy. Or suppose you want to mark the ward boundary, you can mark it over here. And along with this particular information, you'll also be able to see the ward boundaries along with it. So WMS can be used in offline mode, it can be used in online mode, and it will help you a great deal. So that covers my part for mobile app. Now, let me take your attention to the web part. So in the web part, you'll see this particular screen, which is the data management screen. And let's talk about data management screen. So I've been coming back and forth to the data management screen. Now I'll explain you all about the data management screen. So if you see, this particular tab is the building tab. It will show all the buildings that have been collected. It will show you the cases which are pending. It will show you what you can do with these buildings. We have also added a quick look through. So you can just look through what is the data that was collected. It will show you all the data that is collected. If you want, you can edit it from here. So if you think something is not right, then you can do it over here. The second step of QC, the first one is automated by us. The second step of the QC, which might require manual training or a human to diagnose it, will be done on this screen. And once your assessment is done, you can either change the values that you want to and save it and then approve it. So this is the second step of QC. You can do it over here. You can just view the data on this screen. Apart from that, there is this premises screen as well. So if I select any building, and if there were any premises for this building, it would have been shown over here. So I can select all buildings. I can do all these actions all together as well. If I want to select a few buildings, then it will show me only actions for few buildings. I can see now premises for all buildings. I can see their statuses as well. I can see their building ID. Again, the quick overview of the data that was collected is present. Now, again, you can edit premises data over here. If you want, you can edit premises data on the fly. This again helps the admin to give his inputs. If there is another QC step that is involved, he can just sign off this data by giving it a code or by giving it some remarks. So there is another feature wherein you can search this building by whatever ID you want. And there is this filter button. You can filter it based on floors. You can filter it based on, if it were a building, there were more options that would have popped up. So you could have filtered it based on the surveyor name as well. You can filter it based on the range. You can filter it based on approval. And what we are trying to do over here is make the admin's job easier. So imagine a case where there is a pile of data that has to be processed together, and there are 3 admins. Now you need to categorically tell this particular admins to either, you can say, analyst 1 will look at ward 1, analyst 2 will look at ward 2. So if you select this data, it will only show data for that ward. And now you have segregated the tasks for each surveyor. They don't have to communicate with each other. They don't have to do the same data approval again. So this helps them to actually segregate the data and only do what is needed. Apart from that, we have also created another option over here, which is if you select all the buildings and if you click on export button, it will export everything in a CSV. Now the purpose of this is that if you want a hard copy of things that were collected before actually approving, then you can download it as CSV, print it out, Some people are actually comfortable with a hard copy, and this option is meant for them. If you want to process it beforehand or put it for approval from another office or want to send the data beforehand, you can download it as CSV and use it. This is all about the data management screen. Let's now move on to survey analytics screen. This particular screen is meant for analytics of the survey that is connected. So what happens in normal surveys is there is this survey that is going on, and you don't ideally actually do approval at the same time the survey is going on. But you want to monitor your surveys. You want to know how many buildings were collected. You want to know a quick stat of what are the number of premises or what are the total number of active surveys today. So this buildings will help you get those facts. So if you log in the morning, you want to check how many buildings are connected today. You get the count there and there. You get the premises there and there. You'll see how many active surveyors were there today. Not only that, we'll also show you some interactive graphs. We'll show you the building status. We'll show you premise status. And also in cases of admin, if he wants to really know how many particular premises or buildings were confirmed or approved, how many were rejected, you want a percentage to understand the quality that comes in. So to understand and better gauge the quality, we have created a pie chart. The pie chart will give you everything in percentage basis. And if there is something wrong, if you feel that the pie chart should have shown something else and you're not meeting the quality, you can gauge it from here. You can change your process. You don't have to scroll through lots and lots of CSV data or lots and lots of manual scavenging of data. All you have to do is look at this graph and you'll get to know what you need to know. We have also created a tab wherein you can keep a track of surveys of which people were active, which are inactive, and how many buildings were collected by which surveyors. In cases, if you want to give targets to the surveyor, you can use these screens. You can monitor those targets on these screens. Again, we have put a filter over here. So if somebody is handling only that ward, you select your only those details, the graphs will change automatically. So if you select a particular surveyor, you select statistics for that surveyor, you can monitor only the quality of that surveyor. You can take reformative actions there and then. You don't have to go through piles and piles of data. You can see everything on this screen itself. We have also created a date range. The date range will help in cases like if you have given a target to a surveyor and you have given him a training, and after the training, you really expect him to be improved. You can select the date range wherein after the survey, after the training, he has collected data. You see the pie chart again. If he has really improved, we'll come to know there and then itself. So these are the things that we have thought of while designing the survey analytics screen and the dashboard. And bear in mind, all this data is cloud stored. So you don't have to worry about your data being lost. It is stored in our cloud and our secure storage. And it is backup safe. We are a ISO certified company, so you don't have to worry about your data. And you can use your data across continents. Anybody who has access to internet can use this. So you can use it in varied time zone. It is matched for different time zone, different particular clients. And most of the scenarios that we thought we did handle, and we have put a lot of hard work in this particular application. We have put a lot of hard work in our mobile app. And I really want you guys to try this app, give us your feedback. So please download the app and give us your feedback. We are waiting for your feedback. And if there is anything that we can improve on, please do send us a mail. So I'm expecting you guys to use this app. Let me hand over my baton to Nirav, and he'll be continuing the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. That's really good webinar from mobile perspective. I think a lot of attendees have understood the whole application now, the whole cycle of CityOS web application and a mobile application. So yes, we are ready to get the questions. Meanwhile, you are writing up your questions. I just want to inform you guys that the next webinar is scheduled on 10th of September at 5 o'clock in the evening. We will be talking about a spatial analysis tool which we have developed on Transerve Online Stack, where some sample data will be taken care, and we are going to explain you more about some spatial analysis tool. So and the link for the registration is already updated on the chat board. So please register yourself for the next webinar. We are open for any questions, so please write up your questions. Thank you.